Hey everybody, welcome back to their third and final installment of So You Want to Be a Dungeon Master here for International Games Week. Today I'm going to be talking to you about some of our D&D resources available here in the library for aspiring Dungeon Masters and D&D players. If you haven't seen our previous two videos and you are interested in DMing, I would definitely recommend you check those out. Our first video is on character creation and 0 sessions, and our second one is on planning your first session and keeping organized as a DM. So definitely check those out if you haven't yet, but for now let's go ahead and look at some of our resources here at the library. Alright, so let's go ahead and have a look at the new Dungeons & Dragons gameplay kit that is available for your use in the Vortex. So, the D&D gameplay kit, just like most of the Vortex kits, is for in-house use only. In order to use them in the Vortex, all you have to do is go up to the desk and show myself or whoever else is working at the desk at the time either your library card, student ID, driver's license, or Infinite Campus. They all work just as well. And let us know and you'll be able to take it right off the shelf. There is a little bit of an extra with this one, which we'll get to soon, but let's go ahead and have a look inside. Alright, so our Dungeons & Dragons gameplay kit has a contents list here on the top, and inside we have our set of dice here. So we have 5 complete sets in here. Of course, you can definitely play with more than 5 players. You'll just have to share or bring extra dice, but you can definitely share with 5 sets. It's plenty. We have a set of pawns, which I will go into in further depth in just a couple minutes here. Here we have our folder of character sheets and scratch paper. We have plenty of character sheets already printed off inside here for you, as well as scratch paper for doing rolls, calculations, things like that. This way you won't have to worry about printing them off yourself or worrying about printing fees. If at any point we are running low on character sheets, all you have to do is head up to the desk, let us know, and we'll print them off for you for free, so you won't have to pay that 10 cents a page printing fee for your character sheets. We also, of course, have one of each of the core rule books included. So we have a player's handbook here, monster manual, and Dungeon Master's Guide. These 3 copies, these 3 are kept with the kit, so they cannot be checked out separately and brought home. These are specifically for in the Vortex. However, on our shelves, on our YA nonfiction shelves that are right outside the Vortex, we actually have copies that circulate, so copies that you can check out and take home of each of these books, as well as a lot of the other expansion books, like Xanathar's Guide to Everything, different modules we have as well, like Curse of Strahd, and those are all able to be checked out with your library card and taken home. These 3 are the only ones that are going to stay in the Vortex, but the good thing about that means anytime you come into the Vortex, you know there will be at least these 3 for you to reference and look at. We also have, of course, plenty of pencils and erasers, because you're going to be doing a lot of erasing. And now there's one part of this kit that you may have noticed is a little bit too big to fit in the box, and that is our grid mat and grid mat markers. So this is our melee battle mat. In order to use the melee mat, of course, you don't necessarily need to use a melee mat if you're not comfortable with it when you're DMing. You can always just talk it out, but if you'd like to use the melee mat or play around with it, all you have to do is, again, go up and ask us at the desk, and we will go ahead and bring it out for you. And that works in conjunction with our pawns here. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at each of these. Alright, so to open her up, you just need to pop one of these white ends off the side. As you can see, the small pieces that come with it, we have our whiteboard markers, or we have our dry erase markers, 4 different colors. And we have this nifty little eraser. As you can see, it says Melee Mats and has a lovely D20 here in the back. And just in case, if someone forgets to erase, or if you're having a little bit of trouble, there's a little staining, we have a little spray bottle here. It is going to be empty and will be emptied after each time it is used, but you can easily fill it up at the water fountain or in the bathrooms if you need to. Hopefully you won't, but it's good to have just in case. And then, of course, what we've all been waiting for, the fun part, the mat. You can see we have a gorgeous little compass rose on here too if you wanted to indicate north, south, east, or west. And it is a nice big mat. I'm going to have to move my pawns for a second to unroll it for you. But we will have plenty of room for it on our wooden tables in the vortex. One of the things to do to quickly flatten, if you wanted to quickly flatten it, is you take the roll and you roll it inside out. Around the roll will help you quickly flatten those edges. So just re-roll it real quick. Hold it for a couple seconds in this position, and then you let it unfurl itself. And now it's laying a lot flatter. It's not perfect. You can always weigh it down with a book or the like if you need to. But it's all here. And of course, these melee mats, you don't want to use them all the time, like when you're in a tavern. Drawing out is a little bit more hassle than it's worth. But if you're going into a dungeon, it can be absolutely perfect. So I'm going to show you just a real quick sketch here. So let's say we have a hallway with a door here. And we're going to have it leading into a larger treasure chamber. Somewhat larger treasure chamber with an altar in the center and 6 pedestals with suits of armor on them. And of course, if we have a melee mat, we have our lovely, lovely pawns here. So for player pawns, we have some of these lovely little happy human looking guys in 4 different colors, so you can differentiate between your players. And they can be lined up however you would like. And we also have 9 numbered token pawns. Now these were actually made and 3D printed here in-house in Studio 300. They are very lovely little gold pawns. Each has a number 1 through 9 on them, and they fit perfectly into the squares of a grid mat. These can be used in several different ways. One of the good things about having them numbered is, say you have more than 4 players, number 1 can now be written down as your player number 5, or number 2 can be player number 6 if you need more player tokens. They can also be used as NPCs or as enemies. So it'll be really easy for you to keep track of the health. Let's say that each of those suit of armors, after they triggered a trap, became an enemy. So you go ahead and have them all on the board, and you can write down what each number is. So let's say that you have a player attack this suit of armor. You can have in your scratch paper or in your DM binder, if you're like me, you can write 1 next to suit of armor number 1 and have its hit points there so you know exactly where each of them is at. It's really, really wonderful that they were able to print those for us at Studio 300. Having 9 of them means unless you have a big party and a really big encounter, you should be absolutely set in any encounter. And of course, these are a little bit more versatile than having a specifically printed model of every single enemy or NPC you could encounter. These can be goblins, these can be dragons, these can be kobolds, they can be guards or mercenaries, anything that you would like. So it is a really, really good idea to use a sort of generic token. I definitely prefer to use generic tokens. While I have some player characters that are playing the character for a long time will want to get a custom mini, but for enemies and NPCs, a generic numbered token is absolutely perfect. And so when you are done using the mat for the day, just give it a quick wipe down here. Again, hopefully you won't need the the spray bottle, but we have it just in case things get sticky. And you have 4 different colors in case you want to indicate like different things like trees, rough terrain, anything like that. And all you have to do if you want to use any of these guys is just go ahead and ask in the vortex.